simple proverb that is, it is a health that is a real wealth and not a piece of gold and silver. So that is what, even though which we are having lots of wealth, unless otherwise we are not having a proper health, I think it will not mean have a meaning at all for us. So probably we need to focus on our health more than our wealth. So that is what Mahatma Gandhi had told. So that is what we want to practice in our day-to-day life. So the thing is, when we talk about the nutrition, most of us wanted to know what is a nutrition actually speaks about it. For a normal layman, what a nutrition speaks about it. So being a clinical part, we have lots of criteria we have to it. But being a layman, what does a proper nutrition does means? It's nothing but optimal nutrition is nothing but providing all essential nutrient in both the amount and the kind of nutrition we are having to it. And it is a cornerstone of health, and also it is a cutting edge of prevention of various health and disease also. So that is what a proper nutrition does means. So what are the nutrition problems which we face in our day-to-day life when we are not having a proper nutrition? So if you ask me about it, probably it can be your normal obesity, it could be, or it can be anemia in a normal female, or undernutrition, and premenstrual syndrome will be having to it. And even some of them will having an eating disorders. Some of them will be having very minimal quantity. They wanted to maintain the physique, they wanted to maintain the posture, everything. So they just started cutting down the calories of protein or specific nutrient they will be on to it. Even that could be one of the reasons of having the nutrition problems. So when we talk about the nutrient, how does it affect an individual? It does not matters with the age and gender and even the activity levels. Activity levels in the sense the person might be a moderate worker, or even they can be a sedentary worker or a heavy worker. If you ask me whether the calorie distribution will be similar for all the age group, of all the activity group, it will not be the same. Because for a normal activity person, it will be lesser, hardly 1800 to 2000 calories will be the requirement. If you say the heavy worker, it will be double the amount we need to provide them, because they are working in a higher amount of energy output is being given to during the work activity. So that is the reason why they need more calories and proteins and other nutrients, whatever is being there. And the climatic condition is also one reason, because certain food items will be available on specific conditions, climatic conditions. So we have to think about it whenever possible, whenever we have those food items, probably we can provide and we can have it in our day-to-day life. And even the health status. A person will be, recently we can see at the age of 20 plus or 30, they are known to become diabetic, they are known to become hypertensive because of the work stress, and even because there are various factors it could be. So that is one of the reasons we have to think about it. And the nutrition state of nutrition is how well they are maintaining nutrition throughout the life process. So that is also we have to think about it. So this is what I just want to highlight on the nutrient. So this is what we call the nutrition, the dietitians, what we call is a mantras first. As I told earlier, it depends upon the physical activity. The calorie distribution will be very from male and female, and even between the male, the activity levels also we can see different. So when you see the sedentary worker, it is almost 2000 calories per male, and if it is a moderate, 2700. In case of a heavy worker, it will be almost 3500 calories we have to consume because of the work output and the energy that is being contributed due to the activity factors. And in case of female, similarly, the activity factor is also being considered. And moreover, the person, particularly in a women, undergoing certain process or certain stages in the lifestyle, in the particularly like pregnancy or lactation, probably the calorie will be higher than the normal. And if you ask about the infants and children's also, based on the age group, it will be varying about the calorie requirement. Similarly, we have the micronutrient. The macronutrient we saw about it. Micronutrient like vitamins and minerals, supplements also. We have certain amount that has to be consumed in a day to maintain the daily activities and daily requirement we need to meet it up. So, which common thing is what we have to how to maintain your weight. So that comes to your mind. So that is how to maintain your weight is simple with your BMI we can able to calculate. So BMI is nothing but your body mass index, the measure of your body fat based on your weight and in relation to your. So it is applies for both adult male and female also. For children aged 2 and above, over BMI percentile, the best assessment is the body fat analysis we can do to it. So how to calculate this BMI is simple. The World Health Organization had given to it, like weight by height in meter square. For example, if your weight is 68 and your height is 165 centimeter, so we can calculate by 68 by 1.65 into 1.65, that would be approximately 24.98. So this is your normal BMI. This is your BMI for an individual. Similarly, we can calculate for individual. We can calculate our BMI. So what does it stands for? Where you stand, whether you're being well nourished or moderately malnourished, you're overweight or obese or something like that. So the World Health Organization classification says if you fall between 18 to 25, then that individual will be categorized as normal. And if a person falls under 25 to 30, then that will be an average category. And between 30 to 40, then they'll be falling under category of obesity. And we need to be little alarming whenever they fall, whenever they're having any, whenever they fall under this particular category, they have to be more cautious whenever they choose the nutrient or whether they choose the food nutrients also. And above 40, maybe a morbid obesity, where it will be little more alarming, they will be having severe category, they fall in a severe category. And they will be more prone to some certain diseases like diabetes or cholesterol levels will be elevated, or even they'll become more hypertensive also. So we need to focus on those factors also we have to right. So how to distribute a calorie for a day? So that comes into a person. So you're told about the BMI, you have to told about the calorie requirement, how to distribute your daily activities. So that comes into everybody's mind. So how much ever the calorie that you are intake, you're consuming, similar the expenditure should be, your output should be similar. At least 3/4 of the calories should be burned out in the form of your activities or your daily activities or your exercise you can put up. And even the resting calories in the sense, even some of the calories that is being utilized for your normal body function. And even while sleeping, also some of the calories is being utilized. Even some activities, whenever you do, even that time it has been utilized for it. And whenever you do any heavy exercise or cardio or aerobics or something like that, even during that time, that has been utilized for it. So that is what the calorie we have to, how much ever you are taking, that has to be even distributed. Your output that has to be distributed. So this is what normally we call as how they come to a conclusion. This is amount of fat you're consuming, this carbohydrate you're consuming. So nothing but it is 1 gram of fat gives you 9 calories. I'll tell you how to see whenever you on your daily intake. So 1 gram of carbohydrate will give you 4 calories, and 1 gram of protein also will give you 4 calories. So think about the calorie distribution. So what you have to say is about, for example, I'm having 100 grams of your rice or something like that. It has 100 grams of carbohydrate. Example, I'm just giving you 80 grams of carbohydrate. 80 into 4. So that is what 20 calories we are getting. The carbohydrate alone.
Ma'am, kindly be, it's not.
Yeah. So similarly, the protein also we have to how much sugar the protein we are having that has to be calculated into 4. So that is the your protein requirement. And similarly, fat also we can calculate into 9. The grams of fat we are consuming into 9. So that will give you grams of fat what we are consuming in your day-to-day life. So when you ask about it, is it essential to focus on calories or protein or fat in your day-to-day life? Yes, because it is not required only for your normal activity. It is also required for your normal, your cell functions, your organ functions also required. For example, if you say 19% of your calories is being utilized by your brain function, and 10% that is being utilized by your kidney, and 90% by other organs. The 70 calories is already that has been utilized to keep up your organs functioning alone, that has been utilized for it. And when you say about the other activities, like 20% your physical activity and digestion that is being utilized, and 7% for your heart, and 27% for your liver, and 18% that is being utilized for your muscle activity. So whatever activities we are doing it up, so even that during that way the calories is being utilized, so that is being given to it. So that is the reason why we want you to have your calories, we need to have it. And you're not supposed to focus on one specific nutrient, like either carbohydrate or protein or fat or something like that, or one following one particular nutrient diet isn't essential for you. You have to focus, you have to have everything in moderation, we have to take it out. So, because even when you take protein also provides you some calories. If you take fat, even that provides you calories. So that is how it has been distributed, that is being made up But if you say, can I take only protein? Can I take only fat? That will not be beneficial for you. We have to take everything in moderation. Quantity, we have to take it out. So I just want to focus on all the categories of people, how well the nutrient is essential. When you talk about the nutrition for a men requires more nutrition than female. That is because of the larger body size, both height and weight, and even they'll be having greater muscle mass than the. That's the reason they require more, nutrition or more calories when you compare with the female category. And also they have a increased salary gain compared to women. That is the reason why we wanted based on the physical activities and restaurant activities also we need to have more calories they need to have it. So what are the major nutrient that is being focused for men alone? If you say the seven most important nutrient for men alone is the protein. It's essential for common. It is common for both the groups, specifically for the men because during why it is needed for men is during weight loss, your body is being burnt off and the fat is being utilized for the muscle functioning, everything. And even the protein is being utilized for it. So in that case, probably I think we need to have some protein and even protein is required for a common group of people. And next comes the fiber. So fiber is also essential nutrient that is being taken into consideration currently. So fiber is also we have to focus on it. Having more of green leaf vegetables in your diet or including more of cereals or pulses we can take it out. And focusing on omega-3 fatty acids, potassium-rich food items we can have. These are mineral substances which we are not focusing on to it. And magnesium we need to have it up, vitamin D, and even selenium that is essential for all the main categories. So how about women? How do women nutrition differs from men is because they'll be having different types of categories they'll be undergoing to it. As children, for example, boys or a girl, the dietary needs are largely similar when they grow. Right? Both kids, maybe a boy or a girl, they'll be having similar nutrient provided to them. But when the puberty attains, girls attain to certain ages, women start developing unique requirements, and moreover, they'll be having very drastic changes we could see in the body phase, in the body mass, and as even the hormone changes will be happening during puberty stages. And boys will be like slow and steady. They'll be having the growth factor will be happening to them. As the age, our body also will be having certain physical and hormone changes will be happening. So that is the reason we need to have for the men. For the boys also we have to focus it up. So women, when we think about when I say they undergo different phases, for example, during your breastfeeding or lactating, they need extra calories than the normal. So that is what, for example, a sedentary woman, her requirement will be around 1,800 calories. And currently, she's on breastfeeding. She's pregnant, and or if in case she's a breastfeeding, she needs to take additional calories of 300 calories. She need to take it up. So probably 1,800 plus 300, almost 2,200, 300. They have to have extra calories they need to consume. Then the normal requirement they have to. And they have to focus on omega-3 fatty acids, and they can cut down on their fit, and they can have small frequent feeds because they are feeding the baby. They need to keep nutritionally fit for themselves also. So that is the reason why they have to have small frequent feeds. Generally, we recommend them, and healthy source of protein and calcium also we recommend. And we ask them to avoid alcohol because alcohol consumption is very familiar right now because that's the reason we have asked them to cut down on alcohol consumption. So when we talk about the children, as you said, the phase will be, they undergo physical changes will be happening, emotional changes will be happening, and even the hormonal changes will be happening in the growth phase. So once they'll be having poor eating habits also. So certain kids they won't have vegetables. There are certain kids they won't have certain vegetables they won't consume. They won't have milk. They won't have curds, or they'll be finicky on certain food items. So at the earliest, we need to start initiating certain food items, which is essential throughout the life pattern. So the parents they have to emphasize on those diets. Somehow they can modify those items and then they can make them feed the kids to have that. So they'll be having poor appetite also will not be happening because they'll be very playful. They doesn't want to have or they doesn't want to sit on the table and they don't want to have food also. So that is the reason we have to reinforce all the food whatever they consume to bed. And whenever you're preparing any particular items, we can ask the likes of the second kids because nowadays kids they are more intelligent, they doesn't want to have what we were having it up in earlier days. So they start interacting with the friends or even the other persons, and they want to have certain food items on whatever the likes and dislikes. The other kid will be saying, "I had this in my home." Probably that they expect that that should be served at the home the next day also. So that is what will be happening. So that is the reason we can take the likes or dislikes whenever we're preparing a food product for the particularly for the kids. And new items also can be introduced gradually. That is what when they are not liking any specific food items, probably we can modify the preparation method or we can modify the consistency, the quantity of the items. Initially we can start with lesser quantity. If they liking it, probably we can increase the quantity also. And children can involve them in food selection and even preparation also became better. So the next phase from children to the other phase is the adolescent, where the transition phase, what we call as the transition phase, that will be happening. During that particular phase, they'll be having physical as well as mental development happening with it, between the childhood to the adult. So the World Health Organization, the period of between 10 to 19 years is being considered as adolescence now. So that is what we have the growth pattern will be higher. When you compare with boys and girls, both of them will be equally, they'll be required, the requirement is higher. So when you say about the girls, particularly the puberty stages they'll be undergoing, so the growth and development will be very rapid and they'll be having, the growth spurt will be happening, physical change will be happening, hormone change will be happening in those kids. Probably they'll be gaining some muscle and bone mass will be there and changing the body composition. You can able to see the change is gradually because the hormone change is happening inside the body. And they'll be require more energy and nutrient requirement will be the highest. So what are the things they'll be undergoing during the pre-menstrual syndrome will be like we can focus them or we can emphasize on iron-rich products. So whenever we have any kids at home, those who are attaining the puberty or during the adolescence phase, probably we can emphasize on iron-rich items or we can intervene some iron-rich items in the diet. So each iron and zinc, we can focus on calcium. So we can try avoiding the trans fat or deep fried food items at the earliest because we can cut down on the obesity at the earliest phase. Though they're having the complications, probably, say for example, they'll be having obesity because the hormone change will be happening and they'll start overfeeding the kid. So probably what will end up at the end of the day, they'll end up with the, they'll be end up with obesity or overweight. So that is the reason we need to focus on that. So some of them will be feeling bloated or they feel heaviness. That is not the exact phase. The food retention will be happening. So during that particular phase, we can cut down on excess consumption of salt. We can try cutting down on all the snacks or the junk food items. We can cut it down. So that is also one main reason we have to cut. Whatever we are feeling during that particular phase, focus on nutritionally rich, which will be beneficial for the kiddos. And some of them will have some food sensitivity also will be happening during the premenstrual syndrome. So we can find out those things and we can avoid as much as possible. We can avoid it. And if you're avoiding certain food items, for example, if they have become lactose intolerant, try having some other form of lactose we can introduce in the diet. So that can also be done. So eating to ease the symptom of menopause. So whenever the next phase is, we have seen the pregnancy, we have seen the lactation, we have seen the menopause, we have seen the pubertal stage, and it's also menopausal phase where the reproductive system of the women becomes to retire and it be shifting its production of hormones to be happening. So normally in that particular phase, above 40 or 40 plus, even early 50s also that will be happening. So during that particular phase, they can have focus on the calcium intake and they can cut down on the sugars as much as possible. Refined sugars they can avoid. They can go for jaggery or palm sugar or palm jaggery. They can take it up because they are rich in calcium content. So that they can focus on to it. And even they can have good fats rather than going for the bad fats. So they can try flax seeds or even for the hot flashes. They can focus on soy products also. They can try having. But because sometimes the hormone change is happening, so they'll be undergoing some changes in the hormone levels also. So try reducing some soy products also they can have. And the first and foremost thing is above 40, even above 30, it's now they're beginning to do your health checks on regular basis. That is, early once we can do it up, find out whether your levels are on normal. So that is one major thing we have to focus on. Well. So we have spoken about the calorie requirement, your BMI, and what is the essential nutrient for each category of people. I just want to focus on the diet part. So, what do you mean by balanced diet? I'm just focusing on what you saying that have a balanced diet. So, what do you mean by balanced diet? Having energy giving food items, body building, and protein food items. This we have talked about. We have learned these also. So, energy giving is your carbohydrates. Your body building is nothing but your protein food items. And protective food item is nothing but your vitamins and mineral consumption, which we want to. So this is how earlier we used to have food pyramid. Nowadays we are having mind plate. This is what we call as mind plate. We can see the distribution of your carbohydrates, your proteins, and your fruits, vegetables, everything. The major proportion, to some extent, you'll be focusing on your carbohydrates, milk products we're having, right? And very minimal quantity we having your fats, and the protein we have, right? And the major portion, equally to your carbohydrate, we need to focus on your fiber content also, your vegetables and your fruits, because they have the high amount of vitamins and minerals also. So fruits and vegetables, at least 5 portions in a day we have to eat. Varieties of fruits and vegetables we have to include in your diet. And when you talk about carbohydrate, it should be the base meal of your diet. So we can have the in the form of potatoes or bread, rice, pastas, even the starchy carbohydrate are rich in carbohydrate content. So that is one thing we have. That is a common source of potato, common source of your carbohydrates. Then comes your protein. Will be like eat at least 2 portions of your protein. Either it can be vegetarian sources or the non-vegetarian sources. If it is a vegetarian, probably we can go for your dal varieties, your pulses, beans varieties. We can have milk and curd. We can have or soy. We can take it out. If it is going to be non-vegetarian sources, we can focus on fish, egg, chicken. We can have it. And dairy alternatives, we can have at least soy products. As I said earlier, some of them will have some, the intolerance will be facing, like lactose intolerance or something like that. Recently, I come across one of my client was saying like she was not having any lactose intolerance, but soon after her pregnancy, she had lactose intolerance because both babies were having lactose intolerance. Immediately, she stopped having the milk products. So when she started having milk, she also started having an allergy. So some of them will have during at any point of time it might occur. So we have to see the intolerance level also. So in that cases, equivalent to that milk, we can have soy, we can take it out, or we can have soy milk, we can have it, but almonds, we can have it. But so these will be some other alternatives also we can have for it. So oil and spreads like your fats sources will be very minimal quantity that has been recommended. So that is what has been given to you. And when you talk about the nutrients, the carbohydrates, mainly the sugars, what we are having in our day-to-day life, and some starches, cellulose, that will be providing you energy. And the protein, it is like 20 amino acids we are having, and out of which the
அவங்க
9
போட்டு
essential
குடிக்கிறீங்கல்ல
amino
எனக்கு
acids, which will help for your bodybuilding, growth, and repair also. And the fat, we have saturated, unsaturated fatty acids, monounsaturated, and polyunsaturated, which will be helping for to build up your store for the future use. So when your body, whenever you're starving, your carbohydrate is being utilized for your energy purpose. Next comes your fat, then your protein. So similarly, the reserve is being utilized for it. So similarly, the fat is being storing your energy, then that will be utilized for the use. And water is also being considered as one of the major nutrients because most of us we forget to drink water. So at least we have to keep getting hydrated. At least minimum 2 to 3 liters of water in a day we need to consume for the day we have to consume because we are people are inhaling the toxic, air pollution, everything we are having to it. So we need to detoxify ourselves. We need to keep getting hydrated. We need to consume at least minimum 2 to 3 liters of water we have to consume in a day. And vitamins and minerals, it will be helping in the process of chemical process which is happening in your body. So for that purpose, we need vitamins and minerals. So that can we can get it from your vegetable and fruit sources where we getting it. So this is what as I said told you earlier, the bodybuilding items, energy giving and items. So 60 to 70% of your daily calories is for your metabolism, and 10% is being utilized for your digestion process, and 20 to 30% for your activity level that is being utilized. So it is not that you have to totally cutting down the calorie doesn't make any sense at all. We have to have some carbohydrate. We need to have some fat. We need to have some protein in your diet or your day-to-day life. So the carbohydrates. Whenever we are having focusing on your carbohydrates, aim 3 servings daily. So which is low in GI, like low glycemic index. Which some of them will have the hyperglycemia or sugar levels will be elevated. So we can choose low in glycemic index, which will make them to be fuller for an even shorter duration too. So it's kind of using a refined product, refined cereals or refined pulses, everything. We can have whole cereals, whole pulses per day in your daily life, in your daily diet or something like that. So even that we cut down on your that we take care of the diabetes, heart disease, even sometimes for cancer also it will be helping. But so what do you mean by whole? Like whole grain cereals and cereal bars, we can take it out. Whole meal like a whole meal like ragi, we can have. You can have quinoa, we can take it out or even whole rice. Instead of having the raw rice, we can use the parboiled rice, we can take it out. And meal we can have, we can have brown rice, we can take it out. So these will be providing you some of calories and even that will be providing more of carbohydrates, more of fibers also in the diet. So what do you mean by good carbs and bad carbs? Good carbs is that in starchy, non-starchy vegetables are carbs and starchy vegetables. We have minimal amount, we have minimal fiber also. And fruits and greens also we have a good amount of good carbs. They talk about the bad carbs, which is seen by carbonated beverages, which we consume and which we having in our day-to-day life, like your Pepsi, Cokes, or something like that. And even white pastas or white rice, and even sugary cereals, we can replace it. And in fact, we can have whole cereals, we can have whole pulses, we can take it out. We can have, instead of this carbonated beverages, we can replace with coconut water or buttermilk, we can have wet or even the sugar cane juice we can have once in a while. So these will be replacing your requirements. So how do I know if my food is high in carbohydrate or added in sugar? So most of us will be going for breading groceries. So whenever you're choosing the cereals, like either your take a cornflakes or if you're taking a muesli or something like that, just read the labels on it. Whether these are the words that we're using, right? They'll be naming as no sugar, no fat, or milk fat, or milk sugars or something like that. But they'll be having some of hidden form of sugar that is being added to it. Because why I'm saying is whenever they are storing those products, they'll be adding some sugar or salt preservative products. So that is the reason some form of sugar or some form of salt that is being added for preservative purpose, but they will be labeled as the form of sucrose or glucose, fructose, maltose. They'll be naming it as on the labels. So they doesn't want it to name it as sugar or something like that. They'll be naming it in the form of sucrose, glucose, fructose, or maltose. Even finally, starch or inward sugar also will be there. Corn syrup or honey also will be naming it. So these are also form of added sugar in your diet. So whenever you see to it, just see what is the proportion which they are having to it. So next comes to the protein. So next protein will be like we have veg and non-vegetarian. So when you ask me which is the good source of protein, generally non-veg has a good amount of protein comparative with the non-vegetarian with vegetarian. So if you say so, then vegetarian has not amount of the protein we have, but thing is when you compare non-vegetarian, this we have minimal amount we have in the comparative with the non-vegetarian sources. So meat, fish, and other alternatives we have. Right? So whenever you're choosing non-vegetarian, probably you can choose low fat or lean option. Meats we can choose whenever possible. Cut visible fat of meat products and avoid protein skin also. And moreover, try avoiding processed meat products with the high saturated fats content. And even if you're having a fish, probably you can have twice or thrice in a week. We can have because it has a good amount of omega-3 fatty acids, which will help to maintain your good cholesterol also. So that is the reason we can consume at least 2 to 3 days in a week. We can consume fish. And if you're having eggs, try having the white amount. If you say where you wanted to have only white, why you're not the even the yellow portion is not iron content, but whenever you feel that your cholesterol is elevated or you want to cut down on extra calories or something like that, probably we can go ahead on a daily basis if you're consuming egg. Try to focus on the egg whites, not the yolk content. Weekly once or twice we can have the whole egg, or the restful days we can have the egg whites. We can take it out. Soy protein and also good amount of low protein fats we can have in vegetarian sources. Vegetarian, we have milk and dairy products also. three portions, we can have it in the form of milk, cheese, yogurt, we can take it out. And healthy adults choose low fat options if possible. And even plain plant-based protein also has been available, like soy milk, we have it, and even almond milks we are having it. And we can try those stuff also. And try plain yogurts or strawberries or blueberries, we can have it. Even that is also a good alternative whenever we are having protein when we talk about proteins. So you asked me about protein and what is bad protein. So the protein we have legumes, eggs, seafoods we have it. And the bad protein will be like pork, sausages, red meats, protein bars. Protein bars nowadays they are adding too much of fat in it. Even that's the reason. Whenever we have a fine, see the fat content. I'm not claiming all the protein bars, but just see the fat content also. What are they claiming to it? So probably that is also is essential for that. So the fat, when we talk about the fat, we have saturated and unsaturated fat items. Saturated, which is remain at solid temperature, like ghee, vanaspati, those stuff. And unsaturated will be monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fat item, which is the liquid oil will be having to it. That is what. So we have good fats and bad fats, which is good, which is bad. So we need some fat in a diet as they provide energy and or some of the vitamins and minerals which is not being synthesized by the body, we have to take from the food which we are consuming. So that they are known as essential fatty acids. The saturated fatty acids which will be extracted from the animal products like palm milk, the ghee we are getting wet, and trans fats is from the cakes and biscuits we have wet, which will increase your blood cholesterol levels. So that's the reason why we want to cut down all those saturated fatty acids and trans fatty acids. The monounsaturated and polyunsaturated are nothing but they are the vegetarian sources like olive oil, rapeseed oil, or the vegetables we have. It. And even certain seeds also like sunflower, corn, sesame oil also we have, it, which will help you lower your blood cholesterol levels. So try to focus on your those which are the unsaturated fatty acid we can focus on. It. So we can have visible fat and invisible fats. So which visible fat is nothing but your vegetable oil, your animal fats, and fish oil. These are the visible fats. The invisible fats, otherwise known as the hidden fat, that is being found in your nuts, generally your cashew nuts, your groundnuts, and we have pistachio, we have bread, and even coconut we have bread. So these are hidden fats. So whenever you are having those items, have in moderation, not in excess quantity. So that is also an essential part we have to focus on. So what do you mean by and that is monounsaturated fatty acid? We have the liquid at room temperature, normally occurring in many items, and the trans fat, which are artificially produced as the partial hydrogenation, which is used for converting liquid oil to solid fat items like mayonnaise, everything. Even mayonnaise, I recently they started banning it because of that reason. And polyunsaturated fatty acid is nothing but the omega-3 fatty acid, which is liquid at room temperature and naturally occurs in many items. And saturated fats are typically solid room temperature and naturally occur in foods such as meat, food items. So that is what those red meats and all we can avoid. So how do I know which is low, which is high? So the total, as I said earlier, whenever you see the labels, probably we can see which is low, which is high. So high is more than 20 gram fat per 100 gram. When a sachet comes with 100 gram of this particular product, if it is says the fat is only 20 gram, then that is higher. So if it is 3 gram of fat less per 100 gram, then that is similarly the saturated fat items. High is then 5 per 100 gram and low is 1.5 per 100 gram. So try to choose the food item which is low in fat and cut down the extra fat as much as possible. Because already while preparation we'll be adding some of the oil, we put some little amount of ghee to it to enhance the taste, everything. So probably these steps can be while choosing those food items, we can choose wisely, we can choose it up. So how to reduce the saturated fat intake is whenever possible, we can go ahead with grilling or boiling or steam or poach if we can try doing it instead of deep frying or roasting. So that we can do it. And moreover, cutting of all visible fats, removing your skin or a fat, we can whenever we have chicken, without the skin we can have it. So that can be done. And even you can use olive oil based or low fat spread instead of butter, we can have it. Even a combination of oil, we can use like rice bran oil, we can use sunflower oil, we can use it up, oil, we can use it up. Even coconut oil also we can use, no issue at all. The usage should be in moderation. And choose low fat dairy product whenever possible. And whenever you're choosing a milk, cow's milk or something like that, probably we can remove the cream and we can utilize for your normal day-to-day life. And keep the hidden put of sources of saturated fat minimum, like biscuits or pies, or whenever you have cream biscuits or cream buns or something like that. Probably we can cut down on as much as possible to maintain your cholesterol levels. So next comes your vitamins and minerals, mainly the calcium. So calcium is essential for your bone growth, for your bone function, and everything. After certain age, probably they'll be having demineralization will be happening in your bone. Automatically, when you have a fall, immediately you'll end up with fracture or something. Particularly in women, after menopausal stage, they'll be ending up with bone fractures or something. Even if they skid and fall, immediately they'll have bone fractures or something like that because of they'll be having mineralization will be happening. So that is the reason your bone become very weak. So in that case, we need to provide extra amount of calcium. So calcium is these are the food items that are rich in calcium, mainly in milk and milk products they have. And even certain vegetable also has some calcium, like turnip, mustard greens, or broccoli. We can have cauliflower. We can have it. Legumes we can have, and even tofu we can have it. And even certain dried
అది
foods also we can have
అదొకటి
it.
క్రమం ఇది
And even
ఆడ పోస్ట్ అసలు
and even ragi is given calcium. We can have ragi also, but the multigrain porridges we can include. Even that has good amount of calcium. And when you talk about the fiber, particularly vegetables, particularly leafy vegetables, has good amount of fiber. And even whole grain cereals and pulses we have it. And even particularly whole legumes, cereals, pulses we can have it on day-to-day life. So next comes the zinc deficiency. This is why I specifically want to talk about zinc. Is most of us will be complaining about the hair loss. Immediately after 30 or 30 plus, they'll be having bald head or something like that. That is because we won't focus on certain nutrients. We'll be focusing only on carbohydrate, fats, and protein. Do we ever think about vitamins and minerals which we are having on day to day? Like how many vegetables, how much vegetables we're consuming, how much foods we're consuming. Nobody think about that. So that is what. So probably we have to focus on zinc also. With zinc deficiency generally occur in chronic illness or if they are having increased alcoholic consumption or even due to stress they'll be having trauma they might have it or even surgery and during any malabsorption syndrome will be happening. So generally, whenever we have zinc deficiency, some symptoms they might come out. Mainly the bone retardation will be happening, and even certain skeletal abnormalities can be noticed. And if in case they have any wound, it will be taking longer time for healing point at point of healing purpose. It will take very longer duration also for healing purposes. Dermatitis or delayed sexual maturation in children and even hypoglycemia, they will have blood taste or even metallic taste they might be having given. So this is also one thing which we have to focus. And some of them will be having hair loss immediately after, say, early 30s or late 40s or even early 35s also they might be having it. And some of them will have impaired immune function and impaired homeostasis also. Immune function in the sense most of them will be more prone to infections. Maybe they'll be getting cold, cough, fever, or the immunity level will be very dropping down. So this is also one of the reasons why they're having whenever they have the zinc deficiencies. So what are the food items that are rich in zinc? Will be like you can have red meats. I'm just only told not to have red meats. Then how come you're saying to have red meats? I'm not saying everything. I just keep a point. Have everything in moderation, not in excess. Either it can be red meat also not having in an excess quantity. So red meat is having a good amount of weight and seafoods we add to it. Poultry we can have, pork we can have. They are the good amount of things having it. Dairy products we can have, whole grains, leafy vegetables also they can have. So these are the common food items that are rich in zinc content, so that they can be incorporated in your diet. So mostly this will be encountered by a women during at any point of phase they'll be having it, even during the premenopausal or during lactation, during pregnancy, or even normal days also, women end up with anemia. So anemia, we have to focus on. Generally, they become very tired, very they'll be feeling a little exhausted or something like that. whenever they have low iron content in the body. So probably what we can have is iron rich diet they can have. But so they can have soybean. These are the some of the items that are rich in iron content. They can have soybean, oatmeal, they can have raisins, they can have eggs, they can have shellfish, they can take it out. Grains, the whole grains, breads they can have, and even red meat, chicken and turkey they can take it out. Green leaf vegetables particularly they can have, and even all the nuts and varieties, dried fruits they can have, and they have the iron deficiency they can have. So next comes the salt, because some people will be having salt in the diet, unknowingly or knowingly also they'll be having it. Because whenever we serve any food items, can see some of them will be having a pinch of salt in the plates. So what they do is each they wanted to have a bite, just add a thing and they'll be having to it. So that is something a very very bad taboo which we wanted to take. We wanted to totally cut off whenever in case we are following it, because almost three quarters, almost 75% of salt is already present in your food items. So that's the reason you don't add any extra salt. Being that has been it's not essential for your diet. For example, if you're having any breakfast cereals, like you're having muesli or cornflakes or something like that, or even the breads, if in case we're having bread, normal salads, whatever you're having, even that also has some salt in it. And moreover, we have the ready-made soy sauces, soup sauces, ketchup we have into it. Even that also will be having some salt in it. So try avoiding the salt as much as possible. So when we talk about the junk food items, whether it's healthy or not healthy, generally junk foods we name it as easy to prepare and have it. Easy for convenience. So that is what. Generally this food will be having high amount of fats, salt, and even the sugars to be added in the junk food items. So basically they have no health benefits. That's the reason generally we have to cut down on those junk food items. They'll be enriched with salt, sugar, or fat items. So anybody, in case we have any piece of, if we're offering a piece of chips or something like that, maybe able to stop with one piece, immediately a hand goes for the next piece, or even eating more amount, we'll be having craving for. So that is the indication, that is the temptation that the salt makes everyone to take it. So try to cut down as much as possible the extra salt, what we will have. So why junk food is so appealing is mainly time factor. It is easy to prepare. Nowadays, simple phone call, we can get the food at the doorstep. So that is also happening right. So the taste factor, they'll be adding lots of items, lots of the creamy food items. They adding to make the food appealing and enhance the flavor. Yeah, they'll be adding to it. So the taste factor, we say, will be very good in taste or lavish usage of oil, salt, and sugar. And more junk food items, they'll be playing in advertisement. You see, it will be more appealing also. So immediately what we thought, what we think about it, next time we want to try that food items, and we want to see how far it is really tasty, it's really appealing, and really we want to try all the food items. Even that comes to mind. That is what the junk comes to my thing. So try avoiding the junk food as much as possible. Because some people, whenever they work out in any computer or anything like that, what they do is they keep nuts or they keep some chips or something like that. Junk food they'll be keeping next to it. So they wanted to have a bite and then they'll start working on it. Again, they'll have a bite and they'll start working on it. But when you say about the physical activity, they really do it. They won't be having any physical activity. Everything, whatever they're having, the carbohydrate, the fat, the sugars, everything that will be stored in your body, and that will be a bad fat will become released, and that will cause some other health disease also. So comes the water. So why you particularly want to focus on water? So water is not only a simple nutrient, even that is essential for your normal body function. So it helps regulate your body temperature, and moreover, it will be washing the tissues. If you're not sufficiently having water in your diet, probably you'll become very dry. Skin become very dry, scaly, everything. So that is the reason we need to keep your skin moistened. We need to have water, sufficient amount of water. So even that will moisten your mouth, eyes, and even in so that's the reason we need to keep it up. And it will help to lubricate your joints. Have you ever people noticed some of them will have feel that the sound they can have whenever they move the joints or something like that, or whenever they bend down or whenever they walk, they feel some sort of you know the sound they will be creating into it. So even that is because of they're not giving enough sufficient amount of water. Even that would be one reason. And also it will help to protect your other organs and tissues, and it will help to prevent your constipation, and even will help to lessen the burden the kidney by flushing kidneys and the liver by flushing of the waste products, whatever we have it daily. Shall it be excreted through the form of fecal material or urine that has been excreted. And moreover, it will help to dissolve your vitamins and minerals and other nutrients, and it will be helping for the transportation purpose also that has been utilized. And it also carries nutrient and oxygen to the cells. That is the reason why we need to consume water. So at least minimum 3 liters of water. I'm not having enough. I'm not feeling thirsty. Never mind. Just have a sip of water as much as possible. Just, I'm not asking you to fill a bottle or something immediately. Just have a sip of water whenever. And avoid soft drinks. So, okay, fine. Maybe asked us to drink water. Can we have it in the form of juice? Can we have it in the carbonated beverages? That is no a big no actually. Even if you have juices, I want you to have the water, the plain water sufficiently. We need to have. Avoid soft drink as they are diabetic. So that's the reason mainly we have to avoid it at the carbonated beverages. Drink a glass of water before, during, and after a certain exercise. Whenever you're going for a workout or something like that, try keeping yourself hydrated. Once waking up in the early in the morning, that is one my general practice which I practice personally. I practice before brushing your teeth. We have to have half a liter of water. We need to consume before brushing your teeth. So even that will help to detoxify whatever, because overnight will be your body will be functioning, your body will be detoxifying on itself. So whenever you have water in the morning, it helps to excrete those detoxification process and will help you. So that is the reason try to have keep really hydrated and drink a glass of water or two as soon as when you get up in the morning. So that is what. If you wish to reduce your calories, probably people will say, and a simple tip, I want to reduce my cut down on calories. So one simple tip even I can provide you is for starting your meal, try having a glass of water or something like that. People will say that will dilute your nutrient or something like this. So if you want to seriously want to reduce your weight, try to have a glass of water before having your starting your meal. What happens is whenever your stomach is filled with water, only half of the portion of the food item we can able to consume. That is one tip we can have. And even in between also we can have water. It is not nothing doing with it will dilute your nutrient or something like that. If in case we have any hiccups, we can able to stop it having water. Try having water, not it's not a possible. Keep 1 liter bottle beside you all day and finish it up. So just keep a target from morning till your afternoon. 1 liter bottle you have to finish it up. So next half you can have 1 liter bottle. Finish it up that way. And once you go home, you can have remaining water, we can have. But even if you're not eating sufficient amount, even once you go home, it's fine. Even if I can only half a liter or even lesser than that, it's fine. Throughout the day, you have consumed 2.5 liter water, you have consumed 2.5 liter. So just keep in mind how much ever you're having water. And with each meal, at least 1 glass of water we have to take. So that is also an essential. So we have talked about the nutrient. We have spoken about the nutrient content, the everything. So what are the best food items that will boost your immunity is also essential currently, because on and off we're having lots of raising of COVIDs. We are hearing it of COVID. So probably we have to focus on the immunity level also. So try to have protein rich food items, vitamin A, D, C, and vitamin D. So this is a common nutrient that will be helping to improve your immunity. So protein, as we all know, the vegetarian and non-vegetarian sources, and vitamins generally we get it in fruits and vegetables. So any bright colored fruits and vegetables will help you to bring out the vitamins in your diet. So vitamin A will help to regulate the immune system and will help to fight against the infections by supporting your skin and the tissue health. That's the reason why you want to have vitamin. Zinc, already we have seen it, and vitamin D, it's a fat soluble vitamin that is always also known as sunshine vitamin. You have to expose yourself in the early morning. Between 6 to 8:30, we can expose yourself. Even that is one form of vitamins we can get it up. And it will help to regulate your immune system and the cells also. And vitamin C, which will help to build a healthy skin and tissues and resist entry of bacteria and other germs. That is the reason why you want to have vitamin C. Vitamin C is rich in oils, all the citrus fruits items, oranges, lemon, or sweet lime we can have to it. Even that will be having good amount of vitamin C we have it up. Vitamin E, which is also an antioxidant, which will protect you from the cell destruction also. So that is a by any foreign particle or anything like that. So it is far better to have vitamin E also in your life. So healthy way to strengthen your immune system is by avoiding smoking. So don't smoke and eat a diet high in fruits and vegetables as much as possible. At least 2 servings of vegetable in your diet, this for your lunch we can have, or even 1 serving of vegetable in your diet, in your lunch, and 1 serving of fruits also we can take it out. Exercise regularly, ma'am. I can't do any heavy exercise, something like simple walking. It's fine. Start with half an hour walk, then for a week. Probably then we can increase to 45 minutes the following week. Then we can increase to one hour. So this is how we have to do it up. All of a sudden, if you go for 1 hour, probably the next day we will not be able to do it because of severe body aches we'll be having to it. Then they have to automatically, the nature dies, will be back to the normal. So you're not supposed to do it in that way. So probably start half an hour walking and then gradually increase to 45 minutes and then 1 hour. So that is the best way we can do it up. At least weekly, 5 days we can do it and give a 2 days break also we can do it up. And maintain a healthy weight. So this is also essential for every individual. We need to maintain a healthy body weight as much as possible. It shouldn't be overweight or underweight also. So that is also essential for you. And if you drink alcohol, try cutting it down as much as possible because even that could be one reason of not absorbing any vitamins or minerals. No, ma'am, it's really hard for us to avoid. Probably we can start cutting down in moderation and then quickly cutting down. It will be a suggestion from my end. I will be between it and get adequate sleep. So this is also essential. Minimum 7 to 8 hours of sleep is essential for any individual currently because the people are exposed to lots of the systems, everything, and we have lots of stress also will be happening to it. Probably we need to have a good sleep. We need to have it up. Even whenever you're not having a proper sleep, that will affect your immune system also. So try to have a good sleep as much as possible, and take steps to avoid infection, such as washing your hands and frequently and cooking. Whenever you're cooking your meats, you should make people want to finish the cooking very fast. What they do is they keep in a high flame and they keep heat to it. Even that is not good practices. Everything in a moderation flame, so that will help properly cook the item and then it will be helpful to your consumption. So what are the tips to fight infection is try to eat plenty of fruits and vegetables as possible and even the whole grains we have to take it out. And try to cut down limit the junk food items. Even if you don't cut down, it's very far better. And moreover, exercise regularly, avoid stressful situation and sleep well. And de-stress yourself. So that is also a main thing. Because if you keep too many things on your mind, probably you won't be having a good sleep. That will be bothering a lot of people. So that is one thing we have to de-stress yourself. So this is what I told you, the nutrition part, which I wanted everybody to have a thing. Like for example, if the total calories is 250 calories, so the total serving is 228 gram. Out of this 228 gram, so 12 gram of fat, total fat is there. If it's high or bad, if it is 5% less, is low. 20% or more, then that will be higher. So if it is 18%, it is there, probably it will be lesser, but not much lesser. It will be on the borderline. And the cholesterol, if you say 30 milligram, that is 10% we are having to it. Even that is they have measured sodium, potassium, the mineral. Similarly, we have the carbohydrate, the fat, we have fat. If you see the fiber content is zero. You need to have some of fiber even whenever you choose any product such wisely. The sugar they have named as five, and even protein only 5 grams they are having. 228 gram, we have only 5 grams of fat. In the protein we have to it. And vitamins and minerals also we have to it. So this is what I put. So this fat I put you earlier. How much is fat is higher, how much is lower we have. Yeah, the sugar which we talk about, the sugar is like we have to cut down on extra sugars, mainly on sweets, cakes, pastries, can I avoid it. High in calories, like cutting down will help you control your protein guys, we can cut it down, which will also help you prevent your tooth decay also. So these are the labels that have been highlighted on the labels. So the healthy way of eating is aiming for 3 regular meals. You should 3 regular meals, you have to complete. Ma'am, I'm not having to have a break. So I'm not having sufficient time to have a breakfast or something like that. At least a glass of milk or eggs we can have it, or even a fruit we can take it out. Don't be on empty stomach, or even a cornflakes with some fruits or something you can try having to it. So that is even that will provide some amount of nutrition you'll have to it. Eating food from different food groups like grains, vegetables, proteins, and even the dairy protein and healthy fat is essential for all the individuals. And balancing nutrient-rich food item with moderate amount of other type items like sweets and fast foods. It is not that I'm not saying no to all the sweets or something like that. Whenever you're having your fast foods or junk foods or even sweets once in a while when we're going out, probably have moderation. If you're having those junk food items, probably we can cut down your dinner portion size. You can portion your dinner size as much as possible. You can cut down the quantity. And eating when hungry and stopping when full, that is also essential on what to eat. So that is essential. You have to do regular exercises. Avoid dieting. This is also one major area we need to focus. People will think about they want to cut down weight, want to cut down everything, whatever essential, non-essential, everything they cut it down. So there is no good food or bad food items. All food items is good, but we have to have everything in moderation. We need to buy low carb. It is not that people will label it as low carb, fatty, or diet food items. There is nothing like that, low calorie or low fat or something like that. And you're more important than your weight or your body size. Believe it. So whatever you're choosing wisely, we have to choose it up. Behavioral modification is also one. Eat in only one or two plates. Like for example, if I have, I think most of us will have one plate, one common plate for everybody. Like for in individual, we have our own plates. So have the plate and water. Have the plate. Fill it up in the kitchen itself. We want to reduce your weight. Probably we feel very tired or we feel very lazy to go and pick it up the next serving. So that is the reason. Better you can have that way. You can have. Never eat while involved in any activities such as watching TV or any other mobile or anything like that. Because when we focus on those things, we doesn't know how much ever we are consuming. The quantity we won't be doing it. That's the reason. Try to cut it down as much as possible. Whenever you're having a food item, cut down on watching TVs or doing any other activities. And don't eat while standing. That is also a not good practice. So try to avoid as much as possible. Keep low calorie snacks available all the time. For example, if I want to cut down my weight, if I want to cut down my calories, but I feel some craving or something like that, keep low calorie food items. Low calorie in the sense, what do you mean by low calorie? We can have some seeds like pumpkin seeds or something like that. We can have it, or even we can have puff rice. We can have it, or even the multigrain biscuits we can have because even those will provide you some carbohydrate, some calories will be there. Comparatively, they'll be having some of the fiber. That's the reason. And reward yourself for the weight loss. So that is also main thing. Whenever you feel you lost some weight, keep yourself motivating yourself. Nobody will motivate us. So we have to motivate ourselves. So that is one major thing we have to do. And drink a glass of water each meal. So drink 6 of water in between the bite. And chew your food very slowly. So that is also very much necessary whenever you talk about the clear notification. Because people very fast when having the food items. We need to give time to chew your food and then swallow. So that is also we need to have. Never shop on empty stomach. So have you ever noticed whenever you are feeling very hungry, when you go for a grocery shopping, what do you do is we pick it up everything, whatever comes next to us. So that happens. Even I experienced. That's the reason. So everything we pick it up and then we put it in the trolley and then we see and while billing we be looking all the items. So this happens most of the time. So never shop on an empty stomach and leave a small amount of you get after each meal. That is doesn't mean wasting your food items. How much ever is needed, take for the serving, not wasting the food items. Fill your plate in the kitchen at the start of the meal, and then whenever needed, how much quantity you be able to have it up, please have it up. Don't waste food of the time. Exercise can be walked in the park. 30 minutes of brisk walk we can do it up. If possible, we can go on jogging or cycling also we can do it up. Or heavy gardening or housework also we can do it up. Or at least weekly 5 days we can have to do it. Have a break for 2 weeks. And if it gets you slightly out of breath, a bit sweaty, because generally I'll say one thing, man, after work will be sufficient for the person to burn the fat If I have not done any activity all these days, I'm going to start freshly and going to start my activity. Then probably we have to start with half an hour. This half an hour will not burn calories or burn your fat or something like that. But your body will get tuned up for your activity. So then automatically during the first week and the second week comparatively, you can feel eating changes, you can feel it out. Minimum 45 minutes. It will take to 1 hour. It will take your body will become very warm and it will start burning. Then it will start warming and then it will start burning your calories and fats. Not with half an hour or 45 minutes will not do it. But I'm a person that have not done any activity at all. But I want to start up some walking, some exercises. Then start with half an hour. That is the immediate way we can do it up. Increase to 45 minutes and then we can increase to 1 hour. That we can do it up. At least 2 15 minutes burst out, we can do it up as much as possible. We can do it up. If you're interested in doing some yoga or meditation, probably that also we can do it up, which will help to reduce the stress or even the tension and even the coronary heart disease and blood pressure also we can do it up. Or you can do Zumba also we can do it up. Sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. That is sleep is essential. And moreover, oversleeping or too less sleeping is also not good for us. Oversleeping will lead even that is not essential, that is not good because people will think you're on a depression mode or something like that. Whenever people are in a depression mode, they will be oversleeping than the normal. And people worried about things also. Even those kind of people also will have lesser sleep time. So even that is not good for anybody. So try to have at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. We have to have. And stress. This is one major area I want to touch upon it. So everybody's having stress. Nobody's without stress, nobody can say I'm not having I'm stress-free person or something like that. Everybody will have stress. So identify the cause of stress. And it is better to share your thoughts with the PD, with your loved ones, or even with that concerned person itself. Not keeping or baggages along with you forever. So it is better to share with your the particular person and that will make you little stress free or something like that. Try avoiding the unpleasant situation. If you feel that the situation is not good for you at that point of time, probably you can move out of the situation for a few minutes and then come back for the conversation. That will be better and a healthy way you can do it. And realize that people are experiencing similar problems than yours, and even you can simplify your and manage your time and conserve your energy. So I want to summarize the best way to boost your immune system is to include food naturally. So whatever your calorie, your carbohydrate, your protein, your fat, calcium, everything is essential for your immunity. So even that is rich in vitamins and minerals. So eat your color. That is what we want to do every time. You said to have vitamins and minerals, right? Why can't I have some supplementations? We go immediately for having vitamin supplementation, multivitamins or calcium supplementation or something like that. Everything we get naturally by God's grace, we're having everything naturally. Try having the natural things as much as possible. If not so, or if in case we're not able to take, probably then we can look at some supplementation. Other than that, try having everything naturally because over supplementation is also not advisable. Having high calcium tablet for years, they'll be having to it, or they'll be having vitamin supplementation for years, they'll be having to it. Even that is not advisable. Any supplementation if you're having, have 3 months, have a break for 2 months, and then continue to it. Not that is not essential. No, for 12 months, it's not essential to take it up. And even that will inhibit the phagocytosis and obesity in relation to exercise. So finally, I just want to thank you all. Any questions?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for your informative session. Dear participants, if you have any questions, you put it in the chat box. Otherwise, you will unmute your mic and you can ask. Dear participants, if you have any questions, you can share your feedback or share your views in the chat box. Dear participants, kindly put your questions in chat box. Thank you, ma'am. On behalf of the ma'am, there is some questions in chat box. Can you give some tips to reduce the weight?
So as I said earlier, we can go for your weight, we can do it.
Hello?
Slowly cut down on your portion sizes. Actually, if I'm having 4 idlis in a day or something, make it 3, and then slowly we can cut it down. Because immediately
ஒரே நிமிஷம் நான் கால் பண்றேன் ஒரு நிமிஷம் ஒரு 1 minute ஓகேவா
Hello. Hello, can I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, on behalf of the management and academic staff college, Dr. NGR and Educational Research Institute, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to you, ma'am, for delivering an outstanding session. Seminar. Thank you for your time and effort. I thank all the participants. Ma'am, shall we wind up, ma'am?
Thank you so much.
Ma'am, you are not audible, ma'am. You are not audible.
Any questions? Hello.
If you have any questions, put it in the chat box.
Yeah, one questions they have written. Can you give some tips to reduce the weight? I think we can cut down on your portion size gradually, and then we can do some weight, workouts. We can do it up, and cut down on to fatty food item as much as possible. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dear participants, feedback link has been posted in the chat box.